Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Greetings to all of us, the Honorable Ms. Inastiti Ayuning as a lecturer in the Language Learning Assessment course, and all of my friends. Introducing me, Inastiti Ayuning Hapsari, with student ID number 216121017 from class 4A English Education. On this occasion, I will present the result of my study to fulfill the mid-semester examination assignment for the Language Learning Assessment course. Alright, I will start my presentation. Okay, the first material is concept, function, objective, objects, tools, and procedures for evaluation. Definition of evaluation, assessment, and measurement. Evaluation is a systematic, continuous, and comprehensive activity or process to control, guarantee, and determine the quality, value, and meaning of various learning components based on certain consideration and criteria. Assessment is a process or activity that is systematic and continues to collect information about student learning process and outcomes in order to make decisions based on certain criteria and consideration. Evaluate function. Formative function, summative function, diagnostic function, and placement function. So, the purpose of evaluation, the general objective, is to collect material information that will be used as evidence regarding the level of development or level of progress experienced by student. The specific objective is to stimulate the activities of students taking educational program. Object of evaluation. Objects of educational evaluation are everything related to educational activities or processes. They are the center of attention or observation. Evaluation tools. First, tests. The test is an assessment tools in written form to record or observe student achievement according to the assessment target. The tests are divided into 5 groups. By nature, oral tests and nonverbal tests. By purpose, aptitude tests, intelligence tests, learning achievement tests, diagnostic tests, attitude tests, and interest tests. According to manufacturer, standard test, the teacher make a test according to the form of the question, test description, objective test, and according to or and terms of the objective being test, individual test, group test. Second one is non-test. Non-test is a way of assessing student learning outcomes done without testing student. With non-test technique, assessment or evaluation of student learning outcomes can be done by direct observation, interview, and questionnaire. Procedure from evaluation, planning, data collection, data verification, data analysis, and data interpretation. The second material is the concept of authentic assessment. Okay, so authentic assessment is a course evaluation method where the student applies their knowledge to unique real-life context or situation. Instead of weighing a student's performance against a standardized benchmarks, the student executes takes using the skills and knowledge from this course. And characteristic of authentic assessments, such as authentic assessments start with clear defined criteria of performance made known to the student. Authentic assessment requires students to make their own answer to question rather than select from given option as a multiple choice item, and requires them to use a range of higher order thinking skill and etc. Example of authentic assessment activities such as doing science experiment, conducting social science field research, writing stories and report, reading and interpreting literary pieces, and etc. And advantages to authentic assessment, such as it encourages students to actively participate in evaluation process. Authentic assessment provides very viable evidence of student knowledge and application of that knowledge, and etc. And disadvantage of authentic assessment. Authentic assessment is highly subjective and the result can be unreliable. Authentic assessment typically require detailed, personalized, and specific, which can take a lot of time. The third material is type of test, strength, and weakness of test. Okay, definition of the test. The term test is taken from the word weakness and old friends, them meaning plate for setting aside precious metals. There is also which interpreted as a plate made of soil. The test is a tool for measuring, namely to collect information on the characteristic of an object. Types and kinds of tests. This test can be divided into three types, namely written test, pencil test or paper test, oral test, and performance test. Okay, here the explanation. First, written test, pencil test or paper test. Is a test that demands answer from student is written form. There are two forms of written test, namely subjective test or essay. In generally, essay test can be divided into two forms, namely extended response test and restricted response test. There are several types of restricted response tests, including complete answer type, short answer type. And second, objective test. In general, there are three forms of objective tests, namely true or false test, matching, and multiple choice. Each multiple choice test consists of two parts, namely a statement or also known as STEM, alternative answer choice or called option. There are several variations or modifications of the multiple choice test, namely multiple choice analysis of relationship between things, multiple choice case analysis, association multiple choice with cards, graphs, table, and so on, short answer and completion. Oral test is a test that demands answer from student in oral form. Students will say the answer in their own words according to the question or comment is given. And performance test. Performance test or practice test is a test that requires students answer in the form of behavior or action. Based of the arrangement divided into two, namely teacher-made test and standardized tests. Based on the number of students, there are two kinds, namely individual tests, namely tests carried out individually, and group tests, namely tests held in groups. Based on purpose, diagnostic tests, formative tests, and summative tests. The fourth material is rules in constructing test items and test scoring. The purpose of preparing this guide is to improve the professional ability of a teacher in preparing and writing test item. In each preparation of the written test item, it must be based on the formulation of the question indicators that have been arranged in a grid and based on the rules for writing question in objective form and the rules of writing essay question. Writing question is the form description requires students to organize ideas by expressing ideas in writing using their own words. Based on the scoring method, the form of the description is classified into two, namely objective description and non-objective description. The first step in writing multiple choice form question is to write down the subject matter. The second step to write down the answer key. The third step to write down the distractor. Multiple choice question include basic question or stimulus if any, subject matter or STEM, answer choice consisting of answer key and distractor. And writing items for the did test. Action test or practical test is a test whose assessment is based on the action or practices of student. Writing item for non-test instrument. Non-test instruments are instruments other than learning achievement tests. Assessment tools that can be used include observation, and attitude test instrument, interest, and etc. And on test grid, the format usually contains dimension, indicator, and quantities, item for indicator, and item number. So, preparation of question that demand high reasoning. Preparation of question that demand high reasoning. In writing item, the question writer has a tendency to write item that require memory behavior. There are several ways that can be used as a guide by question writers to write item that require high reasoning. The material to be asked is a measure by behavior, understanding, application, synthesis, analysis, or evaluation. Each question is given a basic question, measuring critical thinking skills, measuring problem-solving skills. Assembling question. Assembling question is a complete, ready-to-use question into one set or test picture or several parallel test pictures. assessment form and process to find out the level of competency achievement. The teacher can do assessment through tests and non-tests. The tests include oral, written, form description, multiple choice, short answer, filling, matching, and true false. And action tests which include performance, assignment, and work non-test assignment, for example, or life assessment, interest, motivation, self-assessment, and portfolio. The fifth material is Bloom taxonomy, grade of tests, and procedures in constructing a test. So, Bloom taxonomy, the definition. Taxonomy comes from the Greek "taxis," which means starting, and nomos, which means science. Taxonomy is classification system or grouping. Taxonomy in the field of education is a framework for classifying statements that are used to predict student ability to learn as a result of learning activity. Bloom taxonomy classification. First, cognitive domain, containing of behaviors that emphasize intellectual aspects such as knowledge, understanding, and thinking skills. Bloom defined the cognitive domain into 6 levels and denoted by Z or cognitive. C1. Knowledge, the operational word mention, memorize, write. C2. Comprehension, the operational word menjelaskan atau menjabarkan, mengidentifikasi. C3. Application, the operational word menerapkan, menyesuaikan, mengoperasikan. C4. Analysis, the operational words menganalisis, mengucapkan, menelaah. C5. Synthesis, the operational words mengabstraksi, mengkoreksi, atau menyusun. C6. Evaluation, the operational words summarize, project. So, affective domain relate to attitudes, values, feeling, emotion, and degree of acceptance or rejection of an object in teaching and learning activities. This affective domain consists of 5 domains related to emotional, receiving, responding, valuing, organization, and characterization. Psychomotor domain. This domain includes the competence to do work involving the body related to physical movement consisting of reflex movement. Basic movement skill is a well expressive. There are 7 subcategories. The psychomotor domain: perception, sense, quiet response, mechanical response, complex response, creativity, and adjustment. Grade of test. Definition of grade. The grade is a format or metric that contains criteria regarding the question needed or to be compiled. The grade can also be interpreted as the blueprint or table of specification, which is a description of the competencies and material to be tested. Its form is table that contains detail of material and behavior along with the balance of proportion decided by the appraiser. The function of grade: quiet lines in writing question to be compiled. The question writer will produce questions that in accordance with the purpose of the test. And writing. In writing the problem grade, the teacher must pay attention to the following things: school name, education unit, subject, class or semester, model curriculum and time allocation, number of question, writer, teacher, competency standard, basic competency, subject matter, indicator question form, and question number. Procedures in constructing a test. In making tests, the teacher must knowing about systematic steps. If the teacher does not know about the procedure in making a test, it's like a big mistake will occur to the teacher and will be detrimental to the student themselves. According to SURAKARTA, the 11 procedure in constructing a test: planning the test, curriculum analysis, textbook analysis, write a grid of question, writing indicators, question, limited test reproduction, trying out the test, item analysis, test revision, and assembling question into test. Okay, that's all my presentation. I'm sorry if I have many mistakes. Thanks for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.